All-time undefeated record, Jimmy Wild, the ghost with the hammer in his hand. From 1910 to 1915, he fought 103 times without a single loss. That's over 100 fights in just a little over 4 years. Let that sink in. He fought anyone, anywhere, often with no training camp, trains, small halls, fields. You name it. He wasn't a big puncher for his size. He was the puncher, and he was a flyweight, barely over 100 pounds, knocking out guys much bigger than him in non-title bouts. Today, elite fighters average maybe 2 or 3 fights a year. Networks, promotional politics, recovery time, and sponsorship schedules slow everything down. Wild's era was brutal. You could fight one night and be booked for another match 2 days later. That kind of activity is gone. His record? Locked in a time capsule. Most divisions as champion. Manny Pacquiao's resume is absurd. He's the only boxer ever to win world titles in 8 different weight divisions. He started at flyweight, 112 pounds, and climbed all the way to light middleweight, 154 pounds. That's not just eating more and lifting weights. That's changing your entire fighting style. As a flyweight, Pacquiao relied on speed and flurries. By the time he reached welterweight and above, he'd developed timing, counterpunching, and insane accuracy. He knocked out bigger guys like Ricky Hatton and Miguel Cotto, proving it wasn't just about size, it was skill. Could someone do this now? Highly unlikely. Sanctioning bodies make fighters defend titles before moving up. TV networks control big fights, and it's hard to get the right matchups. Pacquiao fought in a unique era where he could jump divisions and still get elite opponents. That door's mostly closed today. Most KOs in history. Archie Moore, the old mongoose. He retired with 132 knockouts, the most in boxing history. Moore fought from the 1930s into the 60s. He wasn't just a light heavyweight champion, he was a road warrior who'd take on anyone, anywhere. He held that belt for almost a decade and defended it against a who's who of contenders. He fought a young Cassius Clay, later the iconic Muhammad Ali. He fought Rocky Marciano for the heavyweight crown and even dropped him before losing. He went toe-to-toe with killers in multiple weight classes, never afraid to test himself. The man had over 200 fights. Think about that. He fought so often that sometimes he'd be back in the ring just weeks later. He racked up knockouts not because opponents were bad, but because his style, sharp counters, sneaky power, and relentless pressure broke people down over rounds. Here's the thing. Fighters back then were way more active. You could fight 10 times in a year without anyone blinking. Today, if you have 50 total fights, you're a veteran. With medical suspensions, networks, and cautious matchmaking, no one's touching Moore's KO total. That record is sealed in stone. Longest boxing match. Now, the craziest endurance test in boxing history. In 1893, Andy Bowen and Jack Burke fought for 7 hours and 19 minutes. That's 110 rounds. The referee called it a draw because neither man could continue. The gloves were tiny by modern standards. The ring had no cushioned canvas like today. It was wooden boards under a thin mat. Every punch hurt more. Every step wore you down. Burke broke both hands during the fight. Bowen just kept coming. No one sat down between rounds for more than 30 seconds. They just kept punching. You will never see that again, ever. Modern boxing caps fights at 12 rounds. That rule came in after tragedies like Kim Duke-Koo's death in 1982. We have medical checks, mandatory rest periods, and commissions looking out for fighter safety. Bowen Burke was basically 2 men risking their lives for the crowd's entertainment. Legendary? Yes. Repeatable? No chance. Fastest knockout in a world title fight. Zolani Tete, November 18th, 2017. 3 punches, 11 seconds. The fastest knockout in a world title fight. He flattened Siboniso Ganya with a single clean right hook. Ganya didn't beat the count. You barely have time to get comfortable in your seat before the fight's over. That's what makes it wild. World title fights are supposed to be competitive. Both guys have scouted each other, trained for weeks, and then it's just over. Could it be beaten? Maybe by a second or 2, but the chances are tiny. High-level fighters are cautious early, so this was a perfect storm. Perfect timing, perfect shot, and an opponent who never saw it coming. Most successful title, defenses. Joe Louis, the Brown Bomber. From 1937 to 1949, he defended the heavyweight title 25 times. Let that sink in. No heavyweight since has even come close. Louis wasn't flashy. He didn't dance around or showboat. He was a surgeon with gloves, precise, efficient, and deadly. You made one mistake, and he'd punish it instantly. One clean shot, and you were on the canvas wondering what happened. His era was wild compared to today. Champions fought several times a year, not once every 12 months. Louis fought through World War II, even taking bouts while serving in the U.S. Army. The man was literally fighting for his country and his title at the same time. Now, heavyweight champs defend maybe once or twice a year. Injuries, negotiations, politics. 25 defenses in a row, forget it. Louis didn't just own the division. He ruled it for over a decade. Man was in a league of his own. Youngest heavyweight champion, Mike Tyson's early career is one of the craziest runs in sports history. There's a reason why he's called the baddest man on the planet. On November 22nd, 1986, this dude was just 20 years old and he became the youngest heavyweight champion ever. 20 years, 4 months, 22 days. Think about that. Most kids that age are figuring out college. Tyson's out here knocking out grown men on live TV for world titles. And it wasn't just that he won. He obliterated Trevor Berbick. 2 rounds, Berbick looked like he got hit by a truck. Tyson was so ferocious that by the second round, Berbick's legs literally wouldn't listen to him. He was wobbling around like his controller disconnected. Tyson turned pro in '85, and instead of fighting twice a year like these guys do now, he fought 15 times in his first year. 15! That's a schedule from another planet. By the time he got that belt, he's 28-0 with 25 knockouts. 25! And these weren't pillow punch knockouts. These were lights out. Fold you like a lawn chair shots. The man's head movement was unreal, slipping punches by inches. And when he got inside, boom, hooks to the body, hooks to the head. Heavyweights dropped like they'd been shot. His record is untouchable. Not just because he was great, but because boxing doesn't even allow that path anymore. Commissions have minimum ages. Most won't give you a title shot before you're 21. Promoters now baby their fighters, protect their records, stretch out careers. Nobody's letting a 19-year-old blast through grown men every other week. Tyson's career start was like a meteor. Fast, dangerous, impossible to stop. He didn't climb the ranks, he bulldozed through them, ripped the crown off the top, and dared anyone to take it back. Nobody could. Oldest world champion, Bernard Hopkins, in 2014, flipped the whole script. He turns 49 years old, and he wins a world title. That's not just impressive, that's borderline science fiction. He beats Beibut Shumanov, split decision, and walks out with the IBF light heavyweight belt like, yeah, I just did that. At that point, Hopkins wasn't knocking dudes out. He was literally dismantling them. His reflexes weren't the same, but his fight IQ, off the charts. He'd smother you inside, make you miss by a mile, then clip you with something clean. It was psychological warfare as much as physical warfare. This is a guy who turned pro after prison at 23, fought for over 2 decades, and somehow kept getting better mentally while everyone else's careers fell apart. No booze, no smoking, no garbage food. The man was living clean 365 days a year. And that's what's crazy. In today's boxing, you can barely get licensed at that age, let alone beat elite fighters. Hopkins proved you don't have to be the fastest or strongest. If you've got the discipline and the brain for it, you can still school guys half your age. Absolute legend. The untouchable champion, a boxer who was never defeated. Sounds like a myth, right? But Floyd Mayweather Jr. made it real. He isn't just a boxer, he's a machine. The guy retired with a perfect 50-0 record. That's right, undefeated. Nobody beat him once in his entire career. And it wasn't luck. Mayweather's skill, defense, and ring IQ are on a whole other level. What really stands out? He defended world titles in 5 different weight classes. That's super featherweight, lightweight, light welterweight, welterweight, and light middleweight. Each class came with bigger opponents, harder punches, new challenges. But Mayweather adapted every time, without missing a beat. He wasn't about crazy knockouts or wild brawls. Nope, Floyd was a master of defense, slipping punches, countering with precision, making opponents miss while landing clean shots. That style kept him safe and effective for years. Plus, he defended his titles multiple times, not just winning a belt and running away with it. That's a big deal because champions today sometimes grab a title and jump ship for bigger money fights or easier matchups. Floyd stayed active, proving time and again he was the best at each weight. His unbeaten streak isn't just numbers, it's proof of dominance. Floyd turned boxing into a business, made crazy money, and walked away undefeated. That's a legacy few will ever touch. The Iron Man of boxing. Some fighters burn bright and fade fast. Then there's Roberto Duran, the ultimate grinder. The Iron Man of boxing. That guy was something else. He fought 119 professional fights. 119. That's insane. For comparison, most top fighters today might hit 40 or 50 fights if they're lucky. Duran didn't just fight a lot. He fought for over 30 years. Duran was a warrior. Known as manos de piedra, hands of stone, he was ferocious inside the ring, with knockout power and never back down attitude, and he didn't stick to one weight class. He battled in several divisions, taking on all comers, from lightweight all the way up to middleweight. His long career means he saw generations of fighters, evolving with the sport and proving he belonged at the top for decades. That kind of longevity, it's almost unheard of now. Modern boxing keeps fighters safer and more protected, but that also means fewer fights and shorter careers. Duran's 119 fights and 30-plus years in the ring, that's not just stats on paper. That's pure grind, raw guts, and an iron will. The dude got knocked down, got up, changed his game, and kept going like nothing could stop him. No excuses, no breaks. Just relentless toughness that makes legends. And that wraps up every legendary boxing record broken down for you. If you enjoyed this video, tune in for more iconic boxing moments. Don't forget to hit that like button and drop your thoughts in the comments. Feel free to subscribe for more knockout stories from the ring. Thanks for watching, and until next time, it's goodbye.